Greetings, dear parents, and dear faculty and staff as well. Welcome to this Parents Orientation. Welcome to this very exciting school year 2023 to 2024 when we return to fully on-site schooling. I would like to frame my welcome remarks in terms of excellence reimagined. That is a theme, that is a slogan that we are using in the school to help us understand what we need to get done this school year. It is a return to full face-to-face learning, yes, but we also know that excellence requires of us to be very vigilant in the way we learn to live with the COVID-19 virus. The COVID is still around. We are in a much better place now than 3 years ago, thanks to the vaccines, thanks to all the public health protocols that we have observed. And therefore, I want to tell you that we will continue abiding by all public health protocols as set by our government. But it's much easier now. Will we continue wearing our masks? Yes, but only in confined spaces, especially where there is air conditioning. So that means in the classroom, we will no longer open the windows and doors. We will keep our masks on, and that will be true for all enclosed spaces. But when we are in the canteen, when we are outdoors, wearing of the mask will be optional. Along with that, it means that at the gates, there will be no more health declaration form, big relief for all of us, but we will continue to check for temperature. The medical advice we have received says that we will monitor very closely for fever and cough, but not for other symptoms. We will provide more details in a more comprehensive memo, but that gives you an idea of how the situation has changed and what the day-to-day situation in school will look like and feel like. So that's for public health. On a day-to-day basis, of course, after 2 years of Excel and 1 year of HiFlex, full face-to-face schooling means that there will be no more hybrid or HiFlex setup in the classroom. No, if you need to be absent, then you're absent, just like pre-pandemic times, and we will provide the necessary support. We will, however, experiment with the weekly online day on Wednesdays. No, one of our big takeaways during the pandemic is that online work and schooling is okay, but not every day. So we will continue to experiment with doing it 1 day a week. But I emphasize that it's an experiment because we need to make sure that we can fit into the remaining days of the week all the things that we need to do and want to do face-to-face, primarily for teaching and learning, but also for school operations. So we need to keep an open mind about this, but we will try it out for the first term. Excellence reimagined. In terms of public health, in terms of approaching our school life this year, this is what we are going to pursue. To go now into 3 particular areas where we want to reimagine excellence. First of all, there is the area of academics. We're a school after all. During Excel and HiFlex, we had to streamline the curriculum. And that's something we needed to do even before the pandemic. So it was good for us to do that. But having streamlined the curriculum, now that we are back to face-to-face schooling, we want to aim for depth in our learning. And of course, that takes a different texture from grade school to high school. So the way we look at grades, assessments, awards will be appropriate to the level of learning. But we can expect that there will be more objective metrics, that there will be more academic rigor. If for various reasons we had to be a little bit more accommodating during the 3 years of pandemic, then the academic rigor has to come back now. No, we need to keep moving forward. We will continue using technology in education. This is one of the strengths of Xavier School. We will continue using learning management systems and various tools, but the aim will be for depth, to continue promoting the love of learning, to continue promoting resiliency in our pursuit of teaching and learning. The second area where we want to reimagine excellence is holistic formation. And that must sound very familiar to you because it's such an integral part of Jesuit education. We want our formation not just to be about academics, but we want it to be holistic. Last year, we already talked about relationship and sexuality education. This will continue to be rolled out as a very important formation program in the 21st century. Mental health. This is one of the biggest takeaways during the pandemic, that we have to take care of our own mental health and the mental health of our young learners. So to continue providing psychological support, we have partnered with a new provider called MedRoser. You'll hear more about that in the unit orientations. In sports, I'm very happy to share that thanks to the generosity of our parents and alumni, we have made the decision to host the Jesuit Athletic Meet at our New Valley campus. Both campuses will be involved, both school communities, but the events will be held at the New Valley campus. We've invited all Jesuit schools in the Philippines to field their various teams in basketball and football and swimming and tennis and other sports. We will converge at the New Valley campus in September. It has been decades since Xavier School hosted this, so we're very excited for this big event. Sports is a big part of Jesuit formation. As we always say, no, a sound mind in a sound body is what we would like for everybody. Over here at the San Juan campus, I'm also very happy that we have upgraded and added 3 new tennis courts in our quadrangle. You'll see it in the picture. Again, thanks to the alumni parents who donated this. And alumni of a certain age will remember a time decades ago when we had tennis courts in the quadrangle. So that has come back bigger, better, more modern. Our wooden court in the high school gym is also being upgraded thanks to the family and friends of the late Brian Brenton Chua, former commissioner of the Xavier Alumni Basketball League. So that is another improved facility that we will all enjoy. And along with that, the comeback of PE and athletics programs to promote overall fitness. And finally, in terms of holistic formation, our international programs are back. It's not a future tense, but it's already happened. As early as last December, the High School Model United Nations group was already traveling abroad for their competitions or events. This summer, we had our biggest ever, unprecedented, biggest ever summer trip. And it was to Taipei for high school students of both campuses. We had about 140 students. No? And because of that, we had to partner with 2 schools, St. Ignatius High School, a Jesuit school, and Providence High School, run by sisters. And it was a wonderful program combining study, cultural exposure, and explorations in various places. So that was our first big foray into bringing students abroad again. There were no major untoward incidents, and therefore we're confident that we can bring back international programs. Certainly, more summer trips to look forward to next year. And in San Juan, we will endeavor to bring back XCE, the Xavier China Experience. Grade 8 will continue to go to Fujian. Because of prohibitive costs in Beijing and Shanghai, we will bring grade 12 to Yunnan. So both grade 10 and grade 12 will spend their time in Yunnan, and it will be the same study trip. We'll bring in part of the second academic term to China. More information about that in the high school orientation. And therefore, all these areas, relationship and sexuality education, mental health, sports, international programs, all these contribute to the holistic formation that we aim to provide for our young learners, your children. The third area where we want to reimagine excellence is in terms of forming persons for others. Not in the future after our students graduate, but right now while they're still at Xavier School. And here, our anchor for it is the campus ministry and service programs. We did not let go of that during Excel and HighFlex. We still did it, even if it could only be done online. Of course, this year there will be more face-to-face interactions. We have been doing a big review so that for every grade level, we can do it in an age-appropriate way. And I'm happy that this year, we have 2 Jesuits who are overseeing this. The beginning of the year, our institutional campus minister, is still in charge, Father Philip Johan. And then by late August or early September, my successor as president of Xavier School will already be here, Father Joseph Howe, and he will focus on the programs at Xavier School, New Valley. So I'm glad that working with our lay collaborators, these two Jesuits, along with the other chaplains like Father Art Borhan, Father Jun Buktas, Father John Syriac, Father Ben Sim, that they will be around to accompany us in our life of service and our life of faith. We have been emphasizing also caring for our common home, no? Environmentally sound practices. So now that everybody is back on campus, we have to promote this again in a big way, starting with waste segregation. No more use of single-use plastics, utensils, pet bottle drinks, many other practices. We want this to keep growing and becoming stronger as part of our school culture. Over at the New Valley campus, I'm happy that we're taking in a fresh batch of Zolwaga scholars, those from the public schools who will be with us for 6 years. And then we're also taking in our second batch of TRITS scholars, those who are coming for the Tech Voc Senior High School track. No? And they will eventually do their internship at Toyota Motor Philippines or Dual Tech on their path to employment after high school. This is a big thrust in our Xavier School New Valley campus and a big manifestation of how the school wants to be persons for others and how we want to form persons for others through the gift of Jesuit education. Therefore, we have a very exciting year ahead of us. We want to reimagine excellence. We want to bring you the best of Jesuit education, face-to-face, but emphasizing academics, holistic formation, and being persons for others. I trust that the principals will spell these out in greater detail in the unit orientations, but it's a very exciting year ahead. I welcome you on this journey, and I hope that it's going to be a very fulfilling, very enriching year ahead. And let's just continue to be open as we move forward. We'll continue adapting as we need to so that we can form a school community that is committed to being of service to each other and to the nation. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
At this point, may I invite Mrs. Jane Cacacho, our grade school principal, to give us her message for this school year.
Good morning. Thank you for that special, warm good morning. So, to some of you, I've met you in individual meetings. So, and then here I am again, hopefully to explain how our trust for this year applies specifically, uniquely to the grade school setting. When we speak about excellence, okay, in the lower grades, we'd like to think of it as not just something to aspire for, no? But rather, we also want it to be a result of, a children's love for doing something, because he finds meaning, he finds joy, he finds fun in what he does. And because he is so into it, excellence becomes a result. Also, we want our children to realize that excellence also is the fruit of his hard work, of his effort. And I'll go into these two right now. When we talk about excellence as a result of motivation and engagement, what we're thinking about is that he finds learning relevant, he finds school activities enjoyable, more than being pressured to get good grades, okay? So we want him to do what he needs to do because he finds meaning and joy in it, rather than because he's afraid of getting a failing mark or because he's looking for a high mark. And this is the reason why we have decided to continue our practice of not giving a grade in CLE, that's Christian Life Education for our new parents, music, art, and PE. To our grade 1 parents who helped with this study last year by answering the survey, let me just share with you some highlights. Okay? In our survey of students from grade 3 to grade 6, we found out that students did continue. No? They find value in CLE whether it is graded or not. And in a focus group discussion among the teachers of the grades 2 to 4 who used to grade CLE but stopped doing that during the pandemic and during high flex, they said that from their observation, the effort of the students given to CLE did not really change from the time it was graded and during the years when it was not graded. So this gives us confidence to continue the practice, and in fact, we're rolling it out also to grades 5 and 6. They also found out that the quality of the classroom discussions, actually improved in the higher grades. So specifically for 3 and 4, when the students did not have to try to guess what's inside the minds of the teachers. Diba? Because if you are running, if your goal is to get a high score, then the answer you give is usually what you think the teacher is expecting or will like. But in a class, in a subject like CLE, we want them to dig deep into their own experiences, be aware of their feelings, and to be honest about their questions. And we have found that not grading CLE helped with this. For music and art, the answers in the survey and the discussion with the teachers also show that if the students are not graded in music and art, they have greater freedom to express themselves. They're not doing the artwork or they're not creating melodies just because teacher said so. Okay? And they are not limited too much by the rubrics that the teachers give because something has to be graded. And in PE also, this is very glaring because the PE teachers share that we have a significant number of students who do very well during practice, during regular PE classes, but come practical tests, they start getting stomachache. How they could not run as fast as they used to in a regular class. Okay? And so that feeling of enjoyment in moving is diminished come practical exams. And so, given that and some other reasons, we feel that the not grading of PE makes sense. Okay? It's very logical. However, lest you think that these are not important subjects, okay? On the contrary, okay, we are actually saying that these subjects are more than academic subjects. We will continue to ensure that they get the basic concepts and skills. And even with the no grades, we promise to give you feedback about how your son is doing. Your children will get immediate feedback during the classes also from their teachers. Okay? So those two things will not be sacrificed. In CLE, one very telling, result from the survey is that across the grade levels that were surveyed, both with students and parents, they said that they feel that the development of faith, the understanding of catechesis, and their appreciation of spirituality will actually be helped more by the school holding more sacraments and more spiritual activities, rather than giving of tests so that they will study for the exam. Okay? So, I feel that given that, we are truly on the right track. And for music and art, in a parent discussion, I cannot remember which group it was, and then we started talking about the taking out of grades, no, in music and art. And then a parent said, sa art na nga lang magaling yung anak ko eh. Doon nga lang siya nakakakuha ng mataas na grade. Tatanggalin pa. So, there's no recognition. So, to make sure that that does not happen, instead of graded activities, what we will do is to hold activities whereby special talents and skills could be showcased for the enjoyment of everybody. So that means concerts for music, exhibits for art. And we have joint activities of such nature too. No? Also, for music and art, these two departments do tie up, no, with the academic subjects, so that an output in an academic subject might be shown through an art activity, okay, or through a musical output. So that's also possible, especially in the higher grades. No? And for PE, instead of devoting time to practical exams, we'd rather have them play games instead. No? So we'll have more within class activities, some mini intrams, and so on. And I think our students will find that more relevant, and that is when they can really apply what they learn in these subjects. Okay? All right. Now, aside from excellence being a result of motivation and engagement, we also want our students to feel and to know that excellence is a result of their own effort. Okay? We want them to be able to realize that all of us learn in different ways and at different speeds. Okay? Some of my classmates will learn faster than I do. I learn faster than others. But regardless, as long as I put in smart effort and ask for help, if I need it, then I will get to where my teacher wants to bring me. And this is the growth mindset. Not thinking that, oh, this is how I was born. My dad said he's bad in math. My mom said the same thing. So I must probably be bad in math too. That's the kind of thinking we don't want. So what we want is for them to think that, you know, you might have a hard time studying it now, but if you put in smart effort, and with the help of your teachers and your parents, sana wala ng tutor, no? You will get to where we want you to be. And so, we put in a practice in place starting grade 1. And I will explain later why it's not in kinder. Okay? But we have what we call a retake practice, a retake policy from grade 1 to grade 6. It's when a student gets an IE, that's the failing mark, so insufficient evidence because we don't see enough evidence of understanding or mastery. Okay? If a student gets an IE in an assessment, we call for the student, we schedule an extra encounter, the teacher could give extra practice, and then a retake is scheduled. Okay? And it's that second score that we grade. Okay? Now, this is an acknowledgement that some students may need more time. Okay? Because maybe during the original date of the assessment, that boy was not ready yet. Okay? So we're willing to wait. Or that they need more help, thus the extra encounter. But we believe, given that extra time and that extra encounter, these boys will do better and will get the basic concepts and skills. Why is this not offered in kinder? Because in kinder, where we do not have as many subjects as in grade 1, the teachers have a lot of time to have those mini exercises where they already do the same thing as the reading. In the seat work, they immediately see who does not get it yet, give the extra encounter, and then have them do another seat work, and so on and so forth. So the back and forth of giving feedback and showing understanding already happens. Okay? So we feel that it's not needed anymore in kinder. It still addresses the growth mindset. Okay? Alright. Now, we don't want the retake to be just an automatic mindless practice where you get IE, okay, retake. No. We want them to see what is needed in order to do better in the next test. That's why an extra encounter or practice will be required. Please note also that this is not a statistical strategy that we put in place to make sure that we don't have any failing students at the end of the year. Okay? So it is not for the purpose of pulling up grades. And we don't want it abused. Okay? So we hope that we're explaining this very thoroughly to you so that should your son need to take the retake, you will also explain it the same way we will during the school year. Part of the growth mindset or building the growth mindset is to welcome creative attempts. And as you know, creative attempts, children's creativity, their minds, are just so amazing. They think of so many things, and we don't want to unnecessarily kill that or nip that in the bud. And as such, what we're telling you is, at home too, we hope that when they are creative, in painting your walls, you give your parameters, of course, no? But you'll be also understanding while making sure that they follow your rules at home. But more importantly, we also see errors as opportunities for learning. And we recognize that most of the time, deeper learning happens when it's a result of a reflection of mistakes. Diba? Why? If a student gets the right answer immediately, and sometimes, maybe half the time, it's chamba. Diba? So you can't really say that there was learning because it was just a matter of chance. He happened to give the correct answer. But if a student makes a mistake first, realizes why it is wrong and why something has to be done a different way, then we feel that that lesson will stick longer, okay? And the boy, any student can use that learning and apply it when he needs it the most. After having said this, my unsolicited advice to you parents is that do not get mad, especially our learning managers, okay? As you assist your son in doing his homework, or as you sit beside him during the online day, please do not get mad if the answer of your son is not correct. We've heard horror stories of relationships being strained because of this. Remember, not knowing the correct answer is not a sin. Diba? It's probably because he has not gotten it yet. And if this is the case, or he has a misconception about it, okay, for whatever reason. But because that is the case, what is needed is not punishment or a scolding. What is needed is gentle, patient correction. Okay? Sometimes we see from we do, diba? See you as you see our teachers on screen in Zoom. Diba? And then you'll hear the parent from the back, not that one, no, the other one. No, don't say that, don't say that. Oh, you know this, raise your hand now. Okay? So, many things happen. Let's just make sure all of those work toward the healthy development of our children. Okay. At this point, let me move on and share with you some school structures that we will employ this school year. So Father Ari mentioned the experimental online Wednesday, but this is partnered also with a 7-day cycle. For those who have older sons, you know what this is. For those who don't, then let me walk you through it. So the 7-day cycle is, instead of following a Monday to Friday schedule, we follow a day 1 to day 7 schedule. Now, at the beginning of a school year, we usually declare a day 0. A day 0 is not, please, a no-class day. Okay? It simply means that day will not follow the usual subject period schedule. And that we will probably have longer periods, an overlap of periods, or what have you. So that's a day 0. So we start the school year with a day 0 week for the teaching of routines, for orientation, lots and lots of them. Okay? And then, let's say, we will begin the actual teaching of the lessons the Monday after. Okay? So, that's our day 1. Because it's a 7-day cycle, it's followed by a day 2. Again, it's followed by a day 3, but it's in yellow. Why? Because that's an online day. So, you follow the class schedule, except that your son is at home, we are also at home. Okay? And we'll see each other in Zoom. And then, come Thursday, they go back to school, and it's day 4. Let's say a typhoon comes Thursday night, and Friday, we get signal number 2, and classes are suspended. Okay? So what happens? Day 5, instead of holding it on a Friday, will now go to the Monday. And then this again continues to a day 6, and again day 7, it's in yellow once again because your son stays home, and then we see each other in Zoom. Okay? After the 1 cycle, we continue with the next cycle. I understand you're taking the picture. Just know that the typhoon signal number 2 is not set in stone. Okay? That's just an example. Okay. Now, why are we doing this? We like and we've proven that the 7-day cycle is helpful in terms of lessening anxiety because all our students are next day ready. What do I mean by this? If you have children in other schools, let's say they go home on a Monday, ready for a Tuesday. No? So they have all their stuff ready for that Tuesday. But Tuesday is suspended. I'm not sure if that student is ready for Wednesday. Okay? So in the past, we've had instances when parents want to come in, no? the moment the typhoon signal is announced, because they want to get things from the locker, especially in the higher grades. Or when there was anxiety, because an assessment was scheduled, they don't know anymore when it will be. Okay? So, if we follow the cycle, it doesn't matter if there are class disruptions because the next day will always be the next day in the cycle. Okay? So that's why we like it. And then, as Father Ari mentioned also, we're keeping the online Wednesday because of the benefits that technology made possible. No? Instead of stressing your son 5 days to wake up early, you will do that just 4 days now. Okay? But truly, waking up later than usual, they feel it's such a treat. We do. I don't know if for you, but we also do. And it also helps with mental health. It helps with the environment, the traffic, smoke emission. So, but it's experimental. If we feel, especially in the lower grades, that it's not working, then we have no qualms about making all days on site. So we will continue to study this. We're bringing back extracurricular activities in the higher grades, but just know that kinder and grade 1 are not exempt from activities that are non-academic. Okay? But these are usually done during circle time. Okay? And one thing we're excited about is that our goal is to bring down computer classes all the way to grade 1. Okay? As you can imagine, these will still be simple, but since, technology is the way to go, there's a lot of AI already, we'd like to make sure that our students are 21st century ready. Students will be absent for one reason or another, and in the past, we used to require excuse letters. Okay? This time, to facilitate the submission of excuse letters, we request instead that you fill out our absence notification form. Okay? So we will give you a circular that contains the link to this. We will make available the QR code to the absence notification form. But just to say that it replaces the excuse letter for absences, the leave of absence form, and for the grade 1 parents, the health notification form. Okay? If your son has to stay home because he needs to isolate and all. So this is the one-in-all form for such. There's no need that you might have to upload some lab forms or some proof why an absence is required, but we will tell you all about that when we roll out this form during the school year. Okay. Alright. As I said, the first week of classes, we will teach a lot of routines, and we will endeavor to consistently implement them throughout the school year. Our request, our appeal, our sincere and urgent appeal to all of you is that you, as much as possible, also have similar routines at home. Okay? So that our students will not be confused. Okay? So, in particular, let's say, we will teach them that, how to do their homework. Okay? We'll equip them with study habits. But if you make them dependent on a tutor, so much so that they won't listen in class anymore, okay, then the routines we teach in school might not have the impact that we want it to have. Okay? Or standards of excellence. Our teachers make sure that, try to make sure that the students master their lessons by assigning homework. The homework will consist of practice exercises, right? And in consideration of their age, so the practice exercises may be anywhere from 3 to 5, no? But if at home, you give an extra 5 to 10 and require them to be perfect, I think that's too much stress. And you might be asking a lot from your son that he is not ready yet. Sometimes I find, I might be stereotyping, so forgive me. But sometimes I find that parents who felt that they themselves could have done better when they were in kinder and grade 1, okay, tend to push their children a little bit more. Parang gusto ko sabihin, ikaw nga honor ka ba dati? Diba? So, So, let's just be very realistic. Okay? They're young. We want them to have fun. But if they're traumatized by assignment, by homework, by, the activities, the graded activities they'll have in school, then, everything we are doing might backfire. So let's just be careful. Now, aside from those academics related, we also try to inculcate and foster certain virtues, okay, and values like independence, self-reliance, resourcefulness, okay? So that in school, sometimes teacher will have a management technique where they ask 3 before me, no? For simple things, no? Ask 3 before me, so as boy has to ask 3 other classmates for help, and if no one can answer, then asks the teacher. Not always, sometimes, no? And other routines to develop independence. That's resourcefulness, right? So, to develop resourcefulness, self-reliance. But if at home, your son is the prince of the house, and before he even asks for anything, it's there, even answers. Okay? Or if a child is grappling with a difficult homework and you're too quick to jump in and help, and you don't allow him to make mistakes and learn from his mistakes, then we might not be fostering the same set of values. For grade 1, they will stay here for almost the entire day, which means they'll take their lunch here, right? So, I hope they can eat independently. And as I say that, please make it easy for them to eat independently. Baka naman, buttered prawns. Diba yung baon? I mean, okay. So let's make it easy for the kids to be independent. Alright? Acceptable behaviors. The kids are, especially for grade 1, those who stayed online the entire time also, this is, and for kinder, this might be their first experience of big school. Okay? In a big school, you deal with different personalities. Different personalities that are results of different types of child rearing, parenting, and households. Okay? For some big families where rough housing is okay, because there are 5 boys in the family, di ba, parang normal. For another family where there's only 1 child, hindi yan pwede ng lamok, okay? Lagot si Yaya, okay? Can you imagine, pag nauntog yan ng isang malaking boy at tumalsik kahit hindi sadya, okay? So, here in school, what the teachers have to do all the time is to standardize and calibrate behavior. Okay? And they are taught what is acceptable and what is definitely not acceptable. Expect an adjustment period as they get used to it. And that's natural. That's part of it. That's why you're sending your son to a big school. If you have concerns about it, then you let us know, so that the teacher can explain to you exactly what happened. Okay? And then the 2 of us can work together in making sure that we have a better, way of responding to incidents. Okay? Now, you will see a side, a facet of your son that we will not see. At the same time, we see a facet of your son that you probably don't see. Okay? Our goal is not to convince each other that what we see is the correct one. Right? Our goal is to trust each other so that what you share with us, we will take into consideration, and what we will share with you, you will accept as a possibility. Okay? And so, in the past, Sometimes our difficulty is when we need to inform parents of some undesirable behaviors of a child. And when the parent tells them, no, he's never like that at home. He can never do that. He would never. But are you God? No one knows, right? So, but at the same time, we also just see a part of it. Sometimes we don't know context. A child may be behaving a certain way because something is happening at home that we need to help you address. We would appreciate knowing about it so that we can help you. So, this slide just simply appeals for your trust that the two of us have the best interest of your son in mind. Okay? The reason why we might resort to some stern reminders is because we've seen some behaviors that still need correcting. Okay? And if you have any questions about why this is happening, we are very happy to speak to you if you speak to us politely, because we will always deal with you in a very professional manner. Okay? Alright. So our goal is that each child in Savior feels the love of the home and the school, and that he is not confused. Okay? But sometimes though, as I said, because we have different beliefs, different attitudes about things, there will come a time when you might not agree with what happens in school. And you will have a complaint. No? You might want to raise a concern. If an incident happens in class with a particular teacher or under the supervision of a teacher or staff, then please, by all means, approach that teacher first. Okay? Email or the use of the HSC would be our way to coordinate with each other. But this is the person concerned is the first person that you'd like to approach. There will be times when you won't be happy about how a situation is addressed. And this is the protocol that we follow. You talk to the team leader, and then you're still not happy. We have our assistant principal to assist you. You still feel it has not been addressed well. I can see you after you email your concern and set an appointment. Okay? You're still not happy. I'm sure Father Ari will be willing to see you. Okay? But why do we need to follow this protocol? It's not because we have put a cordon sanitaire around Father Ari. No. It's just because the person who can quickly address your concern is usually the person involved. When you go straight to Father Ari or when you email me as the first person to talk to, I don't know anything about your concern. So what I will do, so as not to overstep my bounds, I'll go see my assistant principal. And since they were not there too, they will go to the team leader. And the team leader was not there too, so she will go to the teacher. So it takes time. No? So if you want it fast, make sure you approach the correct person. Okay? We have a parent Viber group. Okay? And it's very helpful in terms of information dissemination. But in terms of raising your concerns or complaints or dissatisfaction about something or someone in school, Viber is not the venue to rant, okay? Or to air out those concerns. Because your co-parents would hardly be in any position, to come up with an answer. So, I just like to push once again, please make sure that you reach out to the right person. Because really, in all honesty, we'd like to work with you. And I'd like to end by saying, I look forward to working with all of you, and if we will work well together, And if we share the same values, then I'm sure that we will form happier children who are excelling, not because they're scared of the grades, but because they truly love school. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mrs. Cacacho. Father Aries and Mrs. Cacacho's presentations might have surfaced questions and concerns. You may send us your questions or concerns through the QR code flashed on the screen. These will be included in the FAQs that we will prepare. To share with us the health protocols that will be implemented this school year, let us welcome Dr. Julia Yule de Cruz from the Xavier School Infirmary team.
Hi, good morning everyone. I'm Dr. Julia Cruz. I'm part of the team of the doctors that manage and assist your children in the infirmary. Okay, so as for the health protocols this year, so this is the team of doctors that will be taking care of your children. So we're a team of 6 pediatricians, all from Cardinal Santos. So there's Dr. Beverly Chua, Dr. Anne-Marie Tanting is our medical coordinator, Dr. Jacqueline, Dr. Thea Cosmic, and Dr. Willie Megan. Then this is the team of nurses that will also be assisting your children this school year. Okay, for the mask use, this is the requirement. The wearing of masks in enclosed spaces like classroom or library. So we'll be requiring that. Students can remove their masks during PE classes, sports, or eating during breaks and lunch. So if your children have colds, then they may come to school provided that they can keep their masks on all the time except during PE class and recess or lunch. So those who cannot wear their masks will be advised to stay home until they are well. If they have cough, they may return to school upon submission of a negative COVID antigen test to the grade school principal's office. Submission of a COVID antigen test is voluntary. The parents can choose to have their child stay home and rest until they no longer have symptoms. Now, we will be sending home all students with cough unless there is a negative COVID antigen test. For those with fever, children with fever may return to school as long as they are symptom-free for 48 hours, and they can submit a negative COVID antigen test from a laboratory. Okay? So parents can opt to complete a 5-day isolation period in view of a COVID antigen test. Okay, so only COVID antigen tests performed by laboratories with printed results are accepted. So self-administered home tests will not be accepted. The test will be valid for 10 days from the date of test and must be submitted to the principal's office prior to the day of return. So the presentation of a medical certificate or clearance will not be accepted as a substitute for the COVID antigen test result. Okay, for the protocols, students with fever will be monitored in an outdoor isolation area while waiting for parents to fetch them. So we have a small tent in front of the beside the infirmary. Parents are advised to pick up their child within 3 hours. So in the event that the child is critically ill or parents cannot be reached, it will be the physician's discretion to send the child to the emergency room of Cardinal Santos Medical Center for further treatment. Now, for those who were exposed at home, students with household exposure to students are no longer required to isolate. They may come to school if they do not have symptoms. They need to keep their masks while in school except for meal time. So that's our minimum health requirement. So if you have any questions or concerns, you may contact us in these numbers and the email. You can also email us. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Yolden Cruz. Next, we would like to call on Mrs. Flora Ann Alfonso, the Kinder team leader, to discuss important grade level concerns, especially reminders for the first few days of school.
So good morning, parents. I am teacher Flora, the Kinder team leader for this school year. We hope that everyone is safe and well. We are all looking forward to meeting your sons in a few days. Before I go any further, please note that the class lists posted outside the MDC contain the correct section of your son. Kindly disregard the sections found in the parents' portal. Some of the parents have actually not finished all of the requirements and their enrollment. Please approach me after this session, and then I will take note of your son's name so that we can assign a section for your son. Okay? But this will be given on the first day of classes. So at this point, please allow me to discuss important information that you will need to know before the opening of classes. First is the uniform. Having a school uniform helps create an atmosphere of structure and formality. As the students report back on site, it is important to let them feel that the school environment is not as informal as their own homes. And as such, there will be more rules to follow, and wearing the uniform is one of them. All Kinder students are required to wear the Xavier School white polo uniform, complete with grade level patch and name tag sewn on top of the Xavier School logo. This should be paired with khaki pants, white socks, and black leather shoes. During online Wednesdays, students should wear the Xavier issued red collared shirt. Grade 1 students are required to wear the Xavier School issued collared shirt complete with the school logo and a name tag sewn on top of the logo. Insofar as this is a school uniform, please note that similar collared shirts may not serve as alternative attire. This top should be paired with a decent pair of bottoms, either shorts or pants, and rubber shoes. Still on the uniform, students are required to wear the yellow Xavier PE shirt paired with the blue PE shorts or jogging pants on their PE day, which is like a twice cycle. Footwear consists of white socks and any comfortable and well-fitting rubber shoes. In addition to the prescribed dress code, students are expected to observe the required haircut, and that is the barber's cut, as prescribed in the student handbook. So we will not allow long hair anymore for this school year. Okay. The school issued each student a Xavier School Access Parent email. This means one email address for every child you currently have enrolled in Xavier. So if we have twins, which I think we have several pairs of twins in kinder and in grade 1 also. So you will have two access parent emails. All official school communications, like messages from the class advisor, reminders for makeup tests, and general announcements may be sent through this email. We request that you check your access parent email regularly.
getting in touch with the school, please also use that email so that you can easily be identified as the parent of your child. Also, please make sure that you also include your son's name and section. A teacher's directory containing the email addresses of your son's teacher, such as his class advisor, guidance counselor, student supervisor, and other subject teachers will be provided to you. Kindly refer to this to inform us of any of your concerns. Please note as mentioned by Mrs. Cacacho earlier, please note that the most efficient way to get a concern addressed is to directly contact the teacher or school authority involved. At this point, kindly allow me to remind everyone that teachers have limited time to check their emails. Usually they're busy in the classrooms, and so even as they wish to answer you as quickly as they can, please allow for a healthy turnaround time, usually 1 to 2 days, for them to respond. Just a reminder, email received after 4 o'clock p.m. will be read the following day. In cases of emergency, you may call the grade school principal's office or the Office of Disciplinary Services. The homeschool communication notebook will be used by your son to copy his homework and other important reminders for the day. Teachers may write short notes to you through the HSCN. We request you to check this every day as well and at least affix your signature to acknowledge the teacher's message. You may also write in the HSCN if you have some concerns for your teacher. Okay. During online days, everyone should be logged in to Zoom the entire period using the Xavier-issued parent email account. Students are requested to save their class Zoom links in their devices for easy login access. The quality of learning is directly affected by the conduciveness of the student's learning environment. Given this, we ask that you provide your son a permanent learning space at home. He will need a table, a chair, and an electrical outlet for charging his gadget. School materials should be within reach to avoid wasting time looking for them when needed. Make sure that the dedicated learning space is well lighted, well ventilated, and comfortable, as he will not just attend his online classes there, but will also accomplish all schoolwork that needs to be done at home. Routines on recitation, asking questions, going to the bathroom, doing seat work will be discussed in the first few days of school. We request you to help us impose these school routines during online classes from your homes too. For kinder and grade 1, students may bring their own food to school. However, parents have the option to order food from the canteen on a weekly basis. Pre-ordered food will be delivered to your son's classroom. Details about placement of orders and payment will be given through email. Also note that utensils will not be provided in school, so students will have to bring their own spoon and fork if they need these utensils. Maybe for some of our alumni, you've noticed that we have a nice playground in the EED area. Students look forward to playtime, and given their long absence from face-to-face encounters with peers, we have structured 1 health break for kinder and 2 health breaks within the day for grade 1. 30-minute health breaks are given to all of the students. Health break supervisors will ensure that the first 10 minutes of each break will be allotted for resting and eating. students will only be allowed to leave their eating area once this time is up. So don't worry about your children not eating lunch or not eating their merienda or their snacks, because we will make sure that they eat first before they play. The rest of the break will be spent on playing. That the boys will be informed of the schedule of playtime in the quadrangle. But for the EED, we will not have this. But we have, of course, the EED gym and the playground. We are also happy to inform you that the students may also visit the library or the LRC during their health breaks. If for some students they like reading more, then actually that's an option. To practice responsibility at home and to be ready for the next school day, your sons are encouraged to develop the habit of preparing their materials the night before. Maybe it's also important that you take charge and you make sure that your child is the one who prepares or packs his bag. Your assistance in guiding them to do this using the class schedule will be important. As mentioned earlier, this school year we will follow the 7-day cycle, and Wednesday is our online day regardless of the day cycle. Kinder will have the morning and afternoon sessions. The morning session starts at 7:30 a.m. and ends at 11 o'clock a.m. The afternoon session will begin at 12 o'clock noon and end at 3:30 p.m. So we advise you for the 7:30 a.m. classes. We advise you to come earlier because you will be coming to school together with the grades 2 to 12 students. Okay. Earlier actually gets heavy traffic will be expected. It's usually expected around the area at this time. Okay. For kinder, of course, you will see that we have our schedule. And grade 1 will have the same schedule for all sections, which means that classes start at 8 o'clock a.m. and end at 1 o'clock p.m. Kinder and grade 1 students will have orientation days from June 13 to 27. That means that's the 4 days of the first week plus one cycle. Topics during these days will allow your son to be familiar with the various places in the campus, school routines or classroom routines, and other school rules, regulations, and policies. An open house will be offered to the parents of kinder and grade 1 students on June 13. This means that parents may stay with their sons during the entire duration of the open house on this day. So that would be for the kinder AM sessions, that is 8 o'clock to 9:30. For the kinder PM sessions, we have 1 o'clock to 2:30. And for grade 1, you will be at the open house is scheduled from 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock. The first day of classes is important, and therefore, we are requesting you to bring your son to school on time. Kinder and grade 1 will be in school a day ahead of the other grade school students. So when they report to school on June 13, they will be the only ones here. So that it's part of the adjustment, so that they will not get overwhelmed with the number of students that they will see in school. But starting June 14, please have your son bring the following: a bag that contains the homeschool communication notebook, coloring and writing materials, envelopes and other school materials, the grooming kit with extra shirt, shorts, masks, wet wipes, small pack of tissue, all labeled with the name of the student. The grooming kit is just for accidents that may happen, so you will actually leave it in the classroom. The grab bag is also required. Aside from the medical kit and other essential items in the grab bag, kindly put the following perishable items in the grab bag. 1 health bar or energy bar, 10 pieces of hard candy, and 250 to 300 ml of bottled water. Please put perishable items in a resealable bag. And then on that first day, on June 14, he will be also expected to bring his food, either snacks for kinder and snacks and lunch for grade 1 and water. Please note that the prescribed entrance and exit gate for kinder and grade 1 is at gate 6. So they have their own gate. So only the kinder and grade 1 students are allowed in this gate. Please note too that parking outside Xavier School is not allowed. And Barangay Green Hills is implementing a clamping ordinance. You may use the parking facility at gate 9 for your convenience. If you applied for a fetcher's card, you may claim it after the orientation at the grade school open dining hall. This will already be used when you fetch your son on the first day of school. Although, just a reminder, some of the parents or some of our parents here have not finished some requirements. Fetcher's cards are not yet available for them. You will get your fetcher's cards on the first day of school on June 13. So if you do not get it today, then for sure you will get it on June 13. In line with their thrust on simplicity, the school encourages simple living through the following practices. Kinder and grade 1 students are not allowed to bring money to school. Students are not allowed to wear jewelry and other accessories in school because in the past we have had some students complaining that they lost some items. Okay. Birthday parties in school are not allowed. Distribution of loot bags and other giveaways is also not allowed. We hope that you can help us in promoting simplicity through these practices. The new school year will entail new adjustments again, especially to students who will be attending classes on site for the first time. This would be our kinder students and our incoming grade 1 students. It is important to stress the virtues of responsibility, cooperation, independence, and self-discipline. Whether schooling takes place in the home or in school, these virtues have to be practiced faithfully and consistently. Thank you for listening, and we look forward to working together with you.